Just let me get that. Yeah, that's about right. Just... Alrighty. Eternal MMA is finally coming to Logan City in Queensland, and with it, they are bringing an absolutely stacked card for Eternal 95. So you know we had to have a couple of guests on. We'll be representing the Fight Center at Eternal 95. First up today, we have Nate Law, a 3-0 professional who's kickstarted his career with 3 knockout wins from his first 3 fights. He'll be looking to continue that trend when he takes on Absolute MMA's Sam Miles in the co-main event slot. Just after that, we'll be talking to another man out of the Fight Center, Max Davidson. A lot of buzz around this up-and-coming featherweight. He'll be looking to continue his good run of form when he takes on Scrappy MMA's Joseph Bird. So 2 guests for you today out of the Fight Center. Exciting times with Eternal MMA finally coming to Logan City. We'll timestamp the slots down below. If you want to watch Nate Law, he's up first. Max Davidson, if he's your man, he's up second. If you're a fan of MMA in general, if you're a fan of Logan City, if you're a fan of watching these guys fight, stick around. Lots to talk about. Enjoy today's episode.
First of all, introducing our challenger.
Out of the blue corner. He's going to step in, and he does. It's all over.
Let's bring on the boom.
This is Eternal MMA.
All right, here we are with another episode of the Eternal Insiders Podcast. Joining us today, one of the men set to feature on the upcoming Eternal 95 card as Eternal MMA makes its very first stop in Logan City, where this man trains and lives out of course, at the Fight Center. What an absolute tear he has also been on as of late, starting his professional career 3-0 and picking himself up 3 knockout wins in the process. He'll be looking to continue that streak when he takes on Sam Miles in the co-main event. Please join me in welcoming to the show for the very first time, Nate Law. Nate, thanks for joining me here today, brother. And hey, man, you've already fought once for Eternal MMA at Eternal 88. And after that win, you called that it was about time that Eternal MMA finally came to Logan City. And here we are at Logan City. You're featuring the co-main event. You've kind of manifested this spot, man. Good times for yourself and the team at the Fight Center and Logan City in general.
Yeah, no, I definitely thought it was something that needed to happen, just given bro, look how much support we get down on the Gold Coast. People at Logan really get behind us, and I thought we put a show here, it'll go off, and I definitely think that's what's going to happen in a few weeks. The support we get here is second to none in the country for MMA, I feel like.
Yeah, so how significant is this for Logan City? I mean, especially, talking to people that aren't from Logan, aren't from Queensland. Myself, I'm in Victoria, so, I've heard a lot of calls for, Eternal MMA to come to Logan City. Can you just talk about the significance and what the scene is like there for mixed martial arts fans and mixed martial arts in general?
Yeah, I think we haven't had a well-established MMA culture here. I'd say it's definitely more Muay Thai and boxing.
Okay.
But with the Fight Center, we're definitely a gym on the come up, and then NTG obviously has some good fighters as well. Those are probably the 2 main MMA gyms around this part of the country. But yeah, when it got announced, the gym was buzzing. Everyone in the MMA team's yeah, I want to get on that show. And I think we have 5 or 6 matched. I think 4 have been announced. So the gym's really buzzing about it at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, what other vibes there right now? I think you're right, at least 6. And I was speaking to Maxie Davidson yesterday, and he thought there was potentially going to be even more. What is the buzz around the gym right now for you guys?
Yeah, that's it, bro. It's definitely the energy is the best it's ever been, because we've never really had this many competing at the same time. It's usually just maybe 2, 3, 4 people in camp, but we got 10 plus people in camp at the minute between this and some other shows as well. So it's not just going down to my regular gym. I'm talking to people who know about it at EMF and stuff, and they're oh, they're bringing a show here and all that sort of thing. So I think just the whole community is kind of aware of it. But yeah, especially at the gym, bro, it's created a real big good energy.
And that you're originally from New Zealand, Auckland, I believe, now training at the Fight Center. You came over here originally to Australia in search of more opportunities to fight and get yourself some more fights in mixed martial arts. How long have you actually been training at the Fight Center for now?
I think about 20 months.
Okay.
My maths is not my strong suit, but I came in July of 2023. So
That's about
it's
bang
been a
on.
year
Yeah.
and a half,
Yeah.
20 months, something like that. Yeah, so I've had 6 fights in that time. It probably would have been closer to 10, but just injuries and that sort of thing get in the way. But nah, I mean, since I moved there, bro, it's been everything I wanted in terms of opportunity and activity and stuff. So yeah.
I mean, you talk about the fight center as well. Not too many better places you could be up in that part of Queensland, being led by Ben Johnson, of course, the former middleweight champion for Eternal MMA, and a lot of great coaches that you guys have there, a lot of good training partners. Speaking of Ben Johnson in particular and some of your main coaches there, like what sort of impact have they had on your career, like in the short time that you've been with the fight center?
Yeah, I think Ben's been the main guy. Like he coaches like the pro team during the day, so that's where like the majority of my training comes from. And just I would say I've taken a more like holistic approach to the sport since being under him. Um, and like yeah, there's a big emphasis on getting good at everything, I suppose, and not just like looking to form like a sort of restrictive style of being like I can do this and this, but I can't. Like it's a lot more holistic in that sense. And then also just like a big thing he's sort of like pushing on us is like efficiency of movement and that sort of thing, and trying to. I mean, that really comes down to having a diverse skill set to be able to do that. But yeah, just sort of like looking to like flow through positions and ranges and that sort of thing seamlessly and be good at them all. So yeah, that was probably like the main thing I picked up since I've been here.
Yeah, and I mean, look, just the fight center in general, man. Like really good times happening there at the gym right now. Like it's just sort of, it certainly hasn't obviously come out of nowhere. But I mean, if you just talk about sort of the run as of late, we mentioned Ben Johnson obviously being the former middleweight champion. We have the current middleweight champion there in Darcy Vendy. A lot of you guys coming through the gym now, making waves in the pro ranks. So many guys also on the come up in the amateur ranks as well. Like just this sort of last 12 months has just really put the fight center like on the map, sort of bigger and better than ever. Like what is it that's sort of driving, and fostering that kind of thriving culture of success right now down at the fight center? Because it's popping right now.
Yeah, I think the standard is just like you train year round and you train hard. Like we don't have a culture of like, oh, you just show up when it's like your turn to fight and then you like disappear for 6 weeks and then you fight again. Like it's like you gotta be a martial artist year round, I would say. So like we don't like the difference between a fight camp and not a fight camp is it's about 90% the same. Like I would just say it's the consistency and just the repetitions we get. Like even the guys who work full time and come in the evening, most of those guys are here for like 3 or 4 hours every night as well. And then we're doing the same thing during the day. So yeah, I would just say it really comes down to like consistency and like repetition is probably like where our success comes from.
Now, like we said, you of course originally from Auckland in New Zealand. You've trained with the likes of Dan Hooker, Israel Adesanya, a lot of those guys like that. Train at City Kickboxing. A few of the locals around that sort of scene as well. Now, I've seen you say in previous interviews that you plan for some of your fight camps to train at the fight center, but also try to find some opportunities to go back home to New Zealand and do some of your fight camps there as well. Is that something that you've sort of been doing as of late? I don't know if this is something you've incorporated in your current camps, but is that still something that you're kind of trying to do at this stage in your career, split your time sort of between here in Australia and back home in New Zealand?
Yeah, I'm actually going there on Monday, so I'll be there for
cool.
about a week and a half.
Yep.
And yeah, it is like obviously like there's a few things to consider, like work, finances, and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I do try to get over there every few months, and I feel like it's a good sort of test of where my skills are at and stuff like that, because I think when you're all practicing the same thing, you kind of know what to expect from each other. And then just going into a new environment, they don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what they're going to do. It's probably like a more true test of where my skills are. So go there and I can get like feedback on where I'm going good and what I need to work on, come back and then like sort of fix it up. And yeah, just I would say it helps like speed my progression up a little more than just being stuck in one place.
Is that going and training at City Kickboxing?
Yes.
Yeah. Because you originally got your start in like just martial arts in general. You started in kickboxing, correct?
Yeah. So I had like 14 fights. One of those was on my Tapology, unfortunately. But yeah, I had like 14 kickboxing fights before I started doing MMA, but I was sort of doing a bit of grappling in the background for a few of those anyway. So my goal when I first walked into a martial arts gym was to do MMA, but it just my coach just put me in the kickboxing just to get me experience and stuff like that. And then yeah, here we are.
Yeah, so I mean, like you mentioned guys like I've heard you talk about originally when you first started getting into combat sports and everything and training with guys like Dan Hooker. I don't know if anyone's ever said this to you before, but looking at your fighting style and just some of your techniques, you kind of remind me a little bit of Dan Hooker and just some little subtleties that you kind of have to your game. There's a little bit to kind of your 1-2s and a little bit of your stance and just kind of the way you move your feet. I don't know if that's by design or whether this is something I'm imagining, but I think clearly he's had he's rubbed off on you in quite a positive way. Do you sort of see any similarities to yourself and in Dan Hooker with some of your game?
Yeah, for sure. Well, he started me from scratch. Like I had never punched someone in the face until I had actually been at his gym. So I was training like under him like every day for a few years. So like
There it
his
is, yeah.
his like fighting DNA, I guess, is like definitely been passed down to me in that sense. And yeah, obviously that's a guy that I sort of looked up to when I first started, and someone that yeah you want a bit of that in you as a fighter, I guess, is like the way he fights. But yeah, I think it really comes down to the fact that I was just like he coached me every day for a few years there. So.
Yeah, not too many better guys to have some early tutelage under than Dan the Hangman Hooker. Shout out to him. You've obviously got a bit of an athletic background too, because I mean, even if you go back prior to starting in martial arts, starting in kickboxing, you actually were doing things like league, a bit of basketball, cricket, all that sort of thing. From what I understand, was there ever any thought in making a run professionally in any of those sports at all before you got yourself into combat sports?
Yeah, no, I actually wanted to be a professional league player, but I just wasn't good enough. So I sort of got to like 19 and realized that. But and then I always wanted to fight, and I didn't like go into a gym thinking I was gonna like fight in the UFC or something. I just wanted to like learn how to defend myself and like have a competitive outlet, I guess, because I feel like I got as far as I was gonna get in league. And then I came down and I just got hooked on it, eh? And then the more I persisted, the better I got. I thought I could actually be all right at this if I stuck at it. So yeah, no, league was like my first goal, I guess, as a teenager, but it just didn't work out. And then here we are.
Was that something you just sort of started in school? Like, I mean, because when you're a kid, like your parents aren't usually like typically putting you into like combat sports or anything like that. I assume this is just something you sort of start as a schoolboy and naturally kind of progress, especially being from New Zealand, big down there in that part of the world.
League or like fighting?
League. I mean, I'll be first to say I don't know much about league because I'm an AFL guy, but you know, like don't come for that.
Yeah, no, I actually played soccer from when I was like 5 till 11, but my family were big Warriors supporters, and then I kind of just I was year 8, and when I started playing, and yeah, I think my dad was pretty stoked actually that I wanted to play league, and then yeah, we just got into it, and that was sort of my life for a few years before I found fighting. But yeah, I think yeah, my dad was probably like the happiest about that. But I actually wanted to start doing boxing when I was like the same age, but my parents wouldn't let me. So yeah, I had to wait till I was an adult to sort of go do it myself.
Yeah, I've heard that a couple of those stories like a few times. Like I got a little bit older and then league wasn't working out for me and then I turned to fighting, and also my parents didn't want to get me punched in the head and that sort of thing. So it's kind of this like conflicting which direction I kind of want to go with my sporting career. But you've made the right decision, man, because you started off this pro career in mixed martial arts, like we said, 3-0 to start your career with 3 knockout wins. Actually on a 5-fight winning streak if you want to count the last 2 amateur fights that you had before. Six, my apologies. All right, well, Tapology might be lying to me, so as it often does. So 6, thank you for the correction there. That's a good way to start the fighting career side of things, man, and go into the pro ranks. Not too many better ways to kick things off professionally. Like when you got to this sort of phase in your career, move from the amateurs, come to the pro ranks, and you get 3 knockout wins, 2 of those in the first round, I believe it was, too. Like, did you genuinely sort of think that this would be the kind of success that you would have to start your pro career? I know you don't come in any fights like thinking, man, I'm going to lose this one, but have you been in any way surprised by the start that you've had so far?
To be honest, like no, like this is what I expected myself. Like I thought that about myself like before I had any wins in MMA. Like, but it was just a matter of like actually putting it together. But no, like I look at every fight and like I think I'm gonna I'm gonna smoke this guy. Like I think that every time, so it doesn't come as a surprise. But then like I don't like my self-worth doesn't come from my record. So I'm not like looking at these and it's not making me feel like a better person. But like you look back and then like 3-0 with 3 knockouts looks good on the record. But I'm just looking at each fight thinking like I'm gonna beat this guy pretty much.
You had that your lone performance for Eternal MMA so far at Eternal 88 when you got that TKO win over Connie Downey, and you found yourself in that interesting position with the leg lock on the ground. You managed to get out of that one, and then finish it on the ground with the ground and pound too. A couple of alligator rolls in there to try and get out of that particular position. Just going back to that fight, were you feeling in any kind of danger in that particular spot before you eventually got the win? Because that was some highlight reel stuff to get out of that dangerous position and then get yourself that nice little win there.
Yeah, no, I didn't feel in danger, but then like you look at it and like he had like the footlock on properly like a few times, but like there's a lot of adrenaline and my feet are pretty flexible and stuff. And then he got the heel hook. That's where I rolled out. And but at the time, like, because we had drilled it so many times, like I wasn't like, oh shit, I've got to like, I'm about to like get my leg ripped apart. I was just thinking what I need to do to escape. Like I wasn't panicking or nothing because we just drilled it to the point of me like hating leg locks pretty much. So yeah, when it happened, I was just chilling and I knew like it wasn't like there's no way he's gonna beat me. So I knew as soon as I got out, like it was I was gonna take his head off after that.
You certainly did, man. And like we said, got on the mic afterwards and you called for Eternal MMA to come to Logan City. And here we are in a co-main event slot against Sam Miles, a 2-1 fighter out of Absolute MMA down my way in Victoria here in the co-main event slot. Just your thoughts initially on this matchup. Sam Miles, a really talented up-and-coming young fighter in his own right. This is a very fascinating matchup, a very highly anticipated matchup in this co-main event slot. Just your thoughts on the matchup in general and what it is you think you need to do to keep this nice little winning streak you've got alive and keep moving forward.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for the fight. This is obviously like he's sort of he's like an up-and-comer like me, and I think he's probably like a step up in competition. Like he's more well-rounded and is also like really, really good in some positions as well as just having like an overall like a solid game. So I think it's probably like this will at least on paper be like the most challenging fight I've had so far. But I think obviously I'll just be looking to without getting too specific, but just looking to like stuff his takedowns and then look to just damage him on the feet. But I mean, at the same time, I feel like if I see an opportunity to get on top of him as well, then I'm definitely not gonna run away from that.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting times in the welterweight division here at Eternal MMA as well. Some very promising prospects emerging and sort of putting their name in the hat for contendership as well. And we mentioned obviously earlier the Fight Center and the championship pedigree that you guys have there. Of course, like we said, Ben Johnson, a former middleweight champion, Darcy Vendy, current middleweight champion, and just an absolute swath of young guys coming through, looking to insert themselves into a couple of different pictures and that sort of thing. You're a 3-0 fighter, like we said, with the 3 wins and the 3 finishes under your belt. Obviously, we're not looking past this fight in any sort of fashion, but given the pedigree of the gym and given the hot streak you guys are on, and the position you're currently in, it'd be safe to say that you're sort of looking at that fantastic championship lineage that the Fight Center is creating there at the gym, and you'd be looking to insert yourself into a similar picture in the near future should you continue this great run of success that you've been on.
Yeah, no, 100%. That is like, I guess, if the immediate goal is winning on May 3rd, that is sort of like the next thing after that is getting that belt. I think you can do that. Prove yourself as like the best welterweight in the country. That's like 100% my goal. Obviously, Dave's the man at the minute, but I feel like in the next 6 months, whether it's him with the belt or someone else, and that's definitely what I'm aiming for, and I definitely think that is like a attainable goal for me in the next sort of 6 months, whether it's after this fight or maybe one more. I'd like, if you ask me, like, I think I could do it right now, but yeah, more cage time, more experience, I think. And then obviously a good step up in competition on May 3rd will help prepare me for that as well.
Well, you certainly set the bar pretty high for yourself, man, because like we said, 3-0 to start your career with 3 very impressive finishes there. This one goes down in Logan City for yourself in the co-main event. Do you feel any extra sort of pressure to really put it on for the Logan City fans for the Fight Centre? I'm sure you're going to have a lot of friends, family, people from the gym there to support you. Is there something that you kind of have in mind where you think, I've got to do something special to steal the show here? I don't know if you have a specific prediction or anything like that, but this one in your adopted hometown, do you feel like you got to do something special here?
It's crazy, bro. Like, I feel less pressure, to be honest, than if I'm fighting like away from home. Like, it feels like privilege, to be honest, and like the feelings of nerves are like way outweighed by the feelings of like excitement. And I mean, to be honest, if I just go and fight as like anything close to the best version of myself, then like everyone's gonna be pretty happy in the crowd, to be honest. So I think if I'm anywhere close to that, then I'm gonna put on a great performance, and yeah, everyone will get their money's worth for sure.
Well, it's an absolutely stacked card for Eternal MMA's first time in Logan City, spearheaded by yourself there in the co-main event slot, turning it on for the Fight Centre, and all the fans will be turning up, like you said, on May 3rd. So if you haven't got your tickets for that one already, these are selling out fast. So please make sure you get yourself to eternalmma.com and grab yourself some tickets. If not, of course, you can catch all the main card action live and exclusive on UFC Fight Pass. He has been Nate Law. Thank you very much for joining me here on the show, brother. Pleasure to have you on. Go get yourself that win in the co-main event slot, and can't wait to talk to you again, future man. I think you've got a big, bright future ahead of you here, so let's see if you get the job done against Sam Miles and continue this nice little streak that you've got going in the welterweight division, and potentially set up something tasty, maybe with David Martinez sometime potentially in the near future. So thank you again, man, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, joining us now, another athlete out of the Fight Centre, a very talented up-and-coming prospect in the featherweight division. He is also set to feature on the upcoming Eternal 95 card in Logan City. Of course, Eternal MMA making its promotional debut in Logan City. We're joined now by Max Davidson. He'll be fighting on the feature prelim when he takes on Joseph Bird in the featherweight division. First of all, Max, pleasure to have you here on the show, brother. And yeah, like we said, Logan City, first time for Eternal MMA. Very exciting for the gym, very exciting for MMA fans in general in Logan City, and no doubt very exciting for you, mate. How does it feel to be a part of all of this?
Yeah, for sure. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm super excited to have a show pretty much in our backyard, just 5 minutes up the road. Obviously, Gold Coast and all that's really cool as well, going to fight there, but it's just going to be awesome having that hometown feel.
Yeah, it must be, I mean, not just for yourself, mate, but I mean, like we just said, for the fights and everything too, like, must be a really cool thing to have, like, it's essentially a home game for yourself and your teammates, like you said, just like 5 minutes down the road. How much sort of like, I know fight camps aren't easy or relaxed, but does it make it just that much sort of sweeter that you get to sort of train and fight at home, like you said, just 5 minutes down the road?
Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot more, feel a lot more fun, I feel. Like all the boys being in fight camp together. I think there's 6 of us on the card so far.
Damn.
And I think we're still trying to get more. But yeah, even just now, we just finished up doing some conditioning stuff, and everyone was in there doing it together, getting it done. Obviously, it's still hard, but makes it a bit more enjoyable when all the boys are doing it together.
Yeah, of course. And if anyone can hear my son crying in the background, he might have just had a little fall there, but I think the wife's all over it. So hopefully I don't have to rush out and tend to anything there. But just let's talk about you here for a second, man. Of course, this is the first time we've had you here on the Eternal Insiders Podcast. A lot of fans already, of course, are familiar with yourself on the Queensland scene and, of course, in Logan City. But let's just go back to the start in terms of you getting into mixed martial arts, man. Can you give us a bit of an insight in terms of where this all started for you? Was there other sports before mixed martial arts? How did this journey kind of get to this point where it is now for you?
Yeah, for sure. So I pretty much, when I was really little, I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but it was more like Japanese jiu-jitsu. Probably I would have been 7 or 8. Didn't do it for too long. My mum and dad used to do it as well a little bit of kickboxing, bit of jiu-jitsu here and there as well. And then kind of just fell out of it for a long time. I was playing rugby, doing other sort of stuff, just kind of living life. And then got a bit older, started like making my own money and stuff like that, so I could go get my own gym membership and start it back up again.
Yeah, fantastic, man. Also, I noticed as well, just looking through your fights, you've had a couple fights now for Eternal MMA. You carry the Irish flag in your graphic banner there as well. Parents originally from Ireland, just a bit of Irish heritage. What can you tell us there?
So, yeah, pretty much my entire family is from Ireland. I was born here.
I was going to say no Irish accent, so I assume you weren't originally.
I know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if you heard my family, you'd think I was adopted.
Okay.
But, yeah, if you listen to my dad or mum or anyone else speak, then yeah, you could definitely hear it. But yeah, so I moved over there when I was really little. Lived over there for like 4 or 5 years, I believe, and then moved back here. But pretty much all of our family is over there. There's a couple of people spread around. A couple of cousins down in Melbourne. But other than that, just me, mum, dad, brother in Australia, and then everyone else is back home in Ireland.
So 4 or 5 years you lived in Ireland, you say, when you were young?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you heard me speaking back then, you would definitely think I was very Irish, but obviously over time my accent's just changed as I've grown up.
Not a trace of it, like you didn't carry anything at all, man.
Nah, it's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. But,
you should just turn it on just like a little bit, you might get away with it.
Yeah, I know. Now that people know me though, it's like,
you can't.
This guy's putting that on. Putting it on.
No, that's fair, man. I was going to ask you too. Now the Meridius nickname, of course, I'm assuming that's a shout to Maximus Decimus from the Gladiator fame there too. But who coined this nickname for you?
So it was actually Uncle Des Mayer.
Yes,
he gave that to me. A lot of people probably know who he is in the regional scene.
Of course,
it was after my first fight on Beatdown, I believe. It was a really tough fight. I kind of got beaten up a little bit by the guy, Josh O'Brien, who's actually headlining the main event this weekend. He was piecing me up a bit, had to fight through some adversity to get the job done. And I think that's where it came from. He was calling me Maximus Meridius from then on, and it just stuck.
Bit of are you not entertained type sort of feel about it, yeah?
Definitely. It was definitely like that in my last fight.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a very fitting nickname, I believe.
Very fitting nickname, and if you didn't earn it in that one, you certainly earned it in the last fight that you had, man, because going up against Cage Fisher at Eternal 94, and that one didn't go your way in terms of the judges' scorecards, but I mean, it was a phenomenally entertaining fight, and did earn Fight of the Night performance honors. Just your thoughts on that fight, man, because it was incredibly entertaining from a fan's perspective. It's, of course, the amateur ranks. There's it's lots to learn from these fights and everything too, but just your sort of takeaways from that fight in general and how you sort of felt about your performance.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely deserved Fight of the Night, I feel like. When I was in the cage, it felt like I was doing a lot worse than what I actually did when I rewatched the fight. Obviously, you're just in there, the adrenaline's going, you don't really know what's going on too much. But once I rewatched it, I had a lot to take away from that fight. I probably learned more from that one than all my other fights, to be honest. And Cage, it was tough, man. He just kept coming forward. I hit him with some really hard shots, and he just kept on coming forward. And yeah, props to him. But it's definitely not how I want to fight. I don't want to be going out there and getting hit in the head and taking one to give one sort of thing. But it was definitely a fun one. Every time I watch it back, I just have a bit of a smile on my face.
I think anyone that watches that fight, man, you can check it out on YouTube, will have a big smile on their face. Because, I don't, from the fights I've watched you and I haven't seen you really in any sort of boring performances yet. And you've had a number of great performances through your amateur career so far. The last two fights, and again, we don't get too caught up in the wins and losses side of things from the amateur perspective. But, coming off 2 losses now, and you talk about the learning aspect of the game and, leveling up, building a skill base, fight IQ, all those sort of things that you're sort of building into who you are as a mixed martial artist, through those couple of performances, between yourself and your gym and your coaches, what have been some of those sort of big takeaways that you've had from those performances and some things that you think that you'd like to kind of work on?
Well, definitely, at the end of the day, like you said, it's all just character development, really. Yeah. Going in there, fighting, winning, losing, whatever, especially in the amateurs anyway. But definitely taken away that, from my first couple of fights, just went out, pretty much just ran through my first 5 opponents. Yeah. And then obviously had that loss. And then after that, it just made me have a bit of a look at like how I was doing things and how I was thinking about everything, instead of just thinking, yeah, I'm the man kind of thing, and like not wanting to get better, just wanted to keep on doing what I was doing. Um, these losses in my last couple of fights have definitely reined that in a lot, and like shows you that you actually need to learn stuff in between each fight. And it's not just about going out there and winning every time. It's going out there and just putting on a performance. Like even in that last loss, I went out there and tried to win the entire time. And then even the one before that against Sheikh Primitat, I let it get away from me, which is what I didn't want to happen in this last fight. Even my coach Ben said after that fight, he's like, yeah, you just let it happen too much. Like I felt like I was better than him. Going into the fight, coming out of the fight even. But I just let it happen. Just let him hold me against the cage. Just didn't do much. I wasn't really trying to win. I was just trying to not lose sort of thing. And then you could see obviously the mentality shift in between that second and third round for that Sheikh Primitat fight. Ben was like, bro, you need to knock this guy out to win. And then go out there and obviously try to do that, come up short. And then it really makes you think. If I put that sort of mentality in from the first opening bell, then that fight would have went a lot differently. So just taking away those little lessons from each fight, and that's the whole point of the amateurs. Really have all these really hard fights now, learn as much as I possibly can before going pro, and then just run through the pro ranks.
Yeah, I mean, you'd almost sort of rather have 7, 8, 9, 10 fights through the amateurs, right? And, have like a mix of success. I mean, you mentioned there before too, how you started your amateur career with 5 on the trot, 6 wins total with 3 submissions, a KO, a couple of decisions there, like really sort of good way to kind of, get your feet underneath you and sort of get that cage experience. There's probably a lot more value in that with a couple of losses rather than running through 8 opponents and just knocking 8 people out. Like, I think you'd agree.
Yeah, for sure. You see some guys, they'll run through everybody in the amateurs and then they'll go pro and then they'll sort of fall off a bit because they didn't learn anything. They just went out and knocked out a few guys and like, oh, I'm the man. And then they had people around them that were telling them the same thing. And then they would go pro, and then you can see that you probably think of a few examples just off the top of your head, but it happens all the time. And then obviously for my fights, I've had a very mixed bag, like TKOs, submissions, decisions, just trying to experience everything that I can. And now obviously on Eternal, getting those bright lights, trying to perform under those bright lights is like a lot different than just performing in the gym or performing on like a smaller show sort of thing.
Yeah, no better place to do it than Eternal MMA, man. And like we said, I mean, you're giving yourself like a number of looks because, as we said, a couple of finishes under your belt, a couple of fights that go to decision, like setting yourself up very nicely for whenever it is that you do decide to eventually go pro. You got a great team behind you, of course, at the Fight Center base in Logan City there. Of course, Ben Johnson, Uncle Des that you just mentioned there before. The guys in your corner and teaching you everything that you need to know. Not too many better gyms that you could be involved in terms of taking your career to where you'd sort of like it to go. You earned yourself at that point too, going through, the first 5 wins. I think you were ranked the number 1 amateur featherweight in the region for a time being as well. Like, so many different factors that have contributed to your success so far. Like, where do you point to in terms of crediting like a lot of that early success that you've sort of had so far in your amateur career?
For sure. I definitely credit it to my coaches. When I first came to the Fight Center, I was working full-time, driving forklifts. And I said to Ben, like before I'd even had a fight, I think I'd been at the gym for maybe a month, maybe 2 months. I was like, I want to fight. Like, it's all I want to do, really. And he was like, all right, if you quit your job, you can come train with us during the day. And I hadn't even had one fight. And I was training with guys like him, Diego Pereira, Nick Kepu, and like, it's impossible not to get better. And then he really wanted me to like get those skills all together before I actually had my first fight. I'd been asking him for so long to have a fight, and he was just holding me back. And then obviously when I actually got in there, it paid off. Because like at the end of the day, your coaches probably know yourself better than you know yourself in terms of like what you need at that specific time. Because at that time I was like, I just want to fight. I'll fight anybody. I don't care. But they're the ones that really like hold you back to where you need to be and like sort of progress you at the rate that you should be progressing at instead of just throwing you in there and then sink or swim sort of thing. which obviously is still the case when you have your first fight. But those guys they've given me everything that I've asked for. Obviously, I've got like a massive support network around me, like all my sponsors and everything like that as well. My family, my missus as well. She like pretty much does everything for me, to be honest, in terms of like financial and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, shout out to her. But no, it's like your coaches are the ones that are going to be there, like regardless of whether you win or lose, and same with your supporters and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely Ben's pretty much made me who I am today, to be honest.
Yeah, so you're training full time now. So you quit the job, you're training full time, supported by the missus financially. I'm sure you're going to pay that back in the long run when we eventually go pro and we start bringing in the coin. But you're training full time now, like just no job. It's just it's in the gym every day.
Yeah, I work at the gym, so
Fantastic.
I help. I teach the kids classes a little bit, and I work on the reception desk. So, if you want to come in and sign up at TFC, come and see me. But I think I haven't been working now for probably 2 years. Pretty much like even since before my first fight, which was August 2023, I'd already been training full time for like an extended period of time at that point. Because I remember I had the conversation with my missus as well. Actually, she was like, "If you want to do it, then we'll figure it out." Because there's no point. I was working full time, and then I would go and train, and then everything would just be compromised. I'd be getting up 10 to 4 in the morning, driving down to the Port of Brisbane, driving forklifts all day, going to training, and then it's just not sustainable. Like, obviously, shout out to all the people that still do that, because it's like it's really hard to do, and I know that firsthand. But yeah, training full time, work at the gym, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, especially you're still so young, but I mean, especially when you start sort of getting older and everything, it's definitely not a sustainable thing. You do so many of those crazy things when you're a young pup, brother, that, you can kind of sort of soldier through, but yeah, good move. And having the ability to be able to make some coin at the gym where you train out of and that sort of thing, that's a good recipe for success, especially at the Fight Center, man. I mean, you riffed off so many names there before that, I've had the pleasure of speaking to and watching when they fought in Eternal MMA. It's a hell of a gym that you guys got going up there, and no doubt it's going to be setting you up for big things in your career. Well, obviously not getting anywhere past this fight or looking too far ahead into the future, but I mean, 9 amateur fights now under your belt. Are you starting to kind of get to that point now where you're thinking, like, is it almost sort of time to go pro? Have you had those sort of discussions? Like, what's sort of in your mind in terms of that sort of future prospect?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely coming up in the future. Obviously, I'll pretty much just do whatever my coaches say to do. If I have to have 10 more amateur fights and go on a 10-fight win streak before I can go pro, I'll happily do that. It's obviously that won't be the case, but I pretty much just do whatever my coaches say. When they think that I'm ready, I'll be like, yeah, sweet, and fight whoever in the pro ranks. But for now, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. This will be my 10th fight. I want to get another 2 more in before the end of August, because that'll be 12 fights in 2 years, which would be a pretty
that's huge,
pretty
man.
cool accomplishment. But yeah, just taking it one fight at a time, fighting, getting back into the gym straight away, improving, and then just going from there. But definitely the near future.
Yeah, 12 fights in 2 years, man. That's some Kevin Holland level the amount of fights that you're sort of putting together there, brother. It's it's certainly going to put
you fight every 2 months.
That's it, man. Yeah, when you average it out, that's crazy to think about, mate. You're obviously looking after yourself very well. So kudos to you, brother. And speaking of just like your attributes and everything too, like the physical attributes that you have as a featherweight, man, very impressive. 186 centimeters for your height. And I think you match that in your reach as well. And that's 6'1" for those that like to play the Imperial game like I do at home. But are way above average in terms of your physical stats for the featherweight division. Like, how much in terms of these gifts that you have, for this division with the height and the reach, like how much of that is a big focus in terms of the way your team and the way yourself mold yourself as a fighter and the way you kind of game plan? Because it is very impressive and must be quite a good advantage that you'd still be kind of learning. Like, being sort of this tall and kind of rangy is something that you must be still kind of learning how to use to your advantage in this 45-pound division.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not something that I like to say that I've mastered yet. I'm a lot better at doing it in training than in my fights. But Yeah, it's definitely a massive advantage, I feel, and it's not even that hard to get down to featherweight, to be honest. Like when I was at lightweight, I was cutting like barely anything. I would like most of the time I wouldn't even have to do a sauna or a
Yeah,
bath or
right.
anything like that.
Yeah, I was going to
So
ask
it's
you
just
about that if it was
the
hard to like get down to, featherweight sort of being that tall. But I mean, like you're quite lanky and that sort of thing as well. So I was curious. Yeah.
no, for sure. Yeah, when I was fighting at lightweight, I was just basically cutting no weight. I could pretty much eat whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and make weight with no dramas. I even made weight on like 3 days' notice
Oh, wow.
at one point. So it was like it's not really that hard for me to make the lightweight. So we thought it would be smart to go down to featherweight, and even then, it's obviously it's hard. Like cutting weight's not good, but like in terms of the weight cuts that some people do, it's quite easy. Um, and then yeah, obviously my physical attributes help a lot. I don't think I've ever fought someone that's like taller than me. So I'm pretty keen because I think Joseph Bird is around the same height. He's like 182 or 181 or something like that. So it'd be cool to fight someone that's like actually a similar height and be able to implement that game against someone who also probably has a similar uh skill set in terms of like their rangy attacks and things like that. Don't want to give too much away, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, you just mentioned that fight coming up against Joseph Bird. Yeah, I think, 180, 181. Very close to, just for reference for people, like that's sort of, the height of like pretty much like a Max Holloway, I guess, in the featherweight division, who's, always been known as quite a tall, rangy featherweight. And I mean, you're taller than that again, man. So, I mean, like this in terms of a fight against Joseph Bird is a fascinating matchup from that regard. 10 centimeters, 11 centimeters that he's got on your last opponent. I mean, you add your height and reach into that pot. It's a fascinating matchup indeed. It's when you sort of look at this as a matchup, and I know you don't obviously want to give too much away in terms of anything, in terms of the game plan or anything, but what excites you about this one, man? It's on the feature prelim spot of this card coming up for Logan City. A lot of fans very excited for it. Of course, your hometown crowd. What do you think about in terms of this matchup?
I'm super excited, to be honest. When I like had a look at who I was fighting, I was very excited. It's gonna be an awesome fight. Hopefully, both of us will be able to show our actual technical abilities. And obviously, I'll be implementing my game. But it's one of those things like my last fight was pretty much just to stand in the middle and throw down sort of thing. And then the one before that was pretty much just grappling and then a little bit of striking at the end. So I really want to go out there, have a fun fight again, and perform in front of my home crowd, put on a clinic.
Does the fact that you're fighting in front of a hometown crowd, like not just Queensland, because you fought in Queensland before, but like it's really like a home game, like being in sort of Logan City. I'm sure you got a crowd of friends and family and locals coming out to see you. Like, does it make you kind of feel like you got to put on something a little bit extra special? Like, does that kind of thing creep into your mind because it is a hometown game? Like, what do you sort of visualize, in terms of, when you pitch, you getting your hand raised and that sort of thing? Do you kind of get those feelings like, man, this is Logan City. I've got to put it on for the people.
Yeah, I mean,
hard spot to be in because you're an amateur.
yeah.
You're still trying to wade your way through and do the right things and that sort of thing. But it's hometown stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hard, especially after the last one. You want to just go out there and just have a scrap for the fans. But no, it's definitely going to be a performance to remember, I feel, in front of my family, my friends. To be honest, I would do the exact same thing, whether it's in front of my fans or in front of his fans back in Perth. I think he's from. I'm gonna fight the same way. I'm gonna perform the same way, and I'm gonna get my hand raised at the end of it.
Yeah, a bit of East Coast versus West Coast. Like you said as well, a lot of the Fight Center boys on this card as well. I think you said potentially it looked like there was 6. Maybe there might end up being more.
Yep.
We're predicting a clean sweep for the Fight Center boys. Like, doesn't happen very often. There's a lot of talent brewing at the Fight Center there, man. What are you thinking?
Most definitely a clean sweep. We're going 6 for 6. Sorry to tell everybody, but it's gonna happen. It's just gotta happen in Logan, first time ever.
Yeah, baby.
It's gotta happen. We got Nate, Jonas, John. I can't even remember everybody that's on, to be honest.
Too many.
There's too many, but it's gonna be a great night. I'm very excited.
Must be a great feeling, man. It must be so different, like kind of coming into a card like this with like so many of your teammates, people that you're close to, like, as opposed to going somewhere maybe over the other side of the country where maybe it's just you and your coach. Like, kind of feels like a bit of an army kind of rolling in, like, brothers in arms. Like, it must be a very cool feeling in the lead up.
Yeah, for sure. It's awesome. I think I've only ever fought on a card by myself once, and that was against Krimitat in my previous fight before this one. And it's still cool and everything, but when you've got all the boys fighting on the same night, like for my debut, we had like me, Siobhan, Nim, Nate was on the same card, and Mason Jackson, one of the other boys, and it was such a sick night. It was amazing. It's just like that feeling of you all going to war together. It's just different.
I can certainly appreciate that, man. Not from a personal experience or anything like that, but when you sort of look at it from the outside in, and it's always fascinating to see like a big gym. We see that with so many different gyms, like in Queensland, New South Wales, when it's like a team of guys kind of rolling in. Like it's a very cool thing to see. There's a lot of great energy, and that just pays off for the fans, man. It makes it just that bit much more sort of exciting to see these like local gyms kind of going against each other. Like we said, like talking about the Fight Center, and like I think my first experience like of talking to people from the Fight Center was probably actually talking to Ben Johnson. I actually think Nick Kepu might have actually been the first person I ever talked to on the podcast way back when. But so many good things that are happening at the Fight Center right now. Of course, Ben Johnson, your head coach, former middleweight champion for Eternal MMA. We've got Darcy Vendy now as the middleweight champion for Eternal MMA. Like we said, so many fighters in this upcoming Eternal 95 card. Like, I think Darcy said it perfectly as well. I can't remember the exact words, but he just referenced, like, after his recent win, to keep his middleweight championship, that there's just so many good things happening in the Fight Center right now, and the fans haven't even began to sort of see exactly where you guys are kind of at. Like, what is it right now that's making the Fight Center so special there in Logan City?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they got no idea what's coming. This is just the beginning, to be honest. But, yeah, I think it's just the fact that everyone has the same attitude. Like, no one thinks they're better than anybody else or anything like that. Like, all the guys during the day that train, like, are all mates with the people that train at nighttime, and like all the sort of, like, everyone just meshes together so well, and it makes it a super easy training environment. And everyone like calls each other on their shit. Like, if you're not training for whatever reason, it's like, well, why not? Like, you just like slacking off, or do you have like a valid reason? Everyone just keeps each other accountable, and then also we all have the same sort of goals and aspirations for ourselves, which definitely makes it a lot easier to like have the sort of team that we've got at the moment.
Yeah, and for yourself in terms of goals, man, last one before I let you go, I mean, you quit the job a couple of years ago to go and train full-time at the Fight Center and work within the Fight Center. Great start to your career so far as an amateur, putting on some fantastic performances, very highly ranked and very highly touted featherweight prospect here in Australia. I assume this is plan A, B, and C for you. You're all in on this game, like, mixed martial arts, going pro. Like, this is it for you. This is the start of something big. Like, this is what you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. I've got nothing else. I finished school, but I didn't go to uni, didn't get a trade, none of that. Even though maybe Dad might have wanted me to get a trade or something like that. But yeah, no, I've got nothing else. So this is it for me. And just gonna keep going till the wheels fall off. Obviously, we're gonna be in the UFC sooner rather than later. Eventually, I should say. But it's gonna happen regardless of if it takes 2 years, if it takes 10 years. It's going to happen. It's just bound to, especially like with the team behind me and the people that I have around me. It's going to happen. It's just inevitable. It's not really a matter of if, it's a matter of when at this point. But yeah, that's the goal for me.
Well, you certainly made a believer out of me, man. Like we said, a fantastic start to your amateur career. A lot of things that I know you're still learning and putting together, but the goods are right there. The physical attributes, I mean, the IQ that you have, the performance, exciting, up-and-coming young fighter, and no better place you to be than the Fight Center in Logan City, where it all goes down for Eternal 95. You versus Joseph Bird on that feature prelim. What a spot that is to be in before bigger and better things come for you in your career, man. So all the best at the upcoming Eternal 95, no doubt for yourself. You believe you're getting your hand raised and a big clean sweep for the boys at the Fight Center. And thank you for coming on here to talk about it, man. Pleasure to talk to you for the first time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, man.
Really appreciate it.
We'll see you on the other side, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, my! That was huge.